Acharya, when I sit by myself and keep very still, after a while the mind goes blank and a deep joy permeates the being. It's indescribable. Then thoughts come. What is this? It's too overwhelming. Can't be, etc. And then it's gone and I'm back. I don't know. In sleep, I have never experienced this blissful state. I am unaware. I only vaguely recollect dreams sometimes. What is this bliss of Atma in profound sleep? What is meant by it being attested by stuti, direct perception, tradition and inference? Thank you. Love, Nimisha. You have answered your query by yourself. It's just that you don't want to probably believe the answer. The bliss of Atma in deep sleep. And in deep sleep, as you have vouched, you remember nothing. You have said you don't know. And that's the bliss of Atma, of which you just cannot know. Sleep is blissful exactly because of sleep you do not know. Please, I did not say that in sleep you do not know anything. I said of sleep you do not know anything because the knower herself sleeps. Who is sleeping? The knower herself has gone off to sleep. Who will know now? That's bliss, Isha. And therefore it is not bliss when you sit by yourself and a deep joy permeates you and you say, wow, it is that. Equally, it is not bliss when thoughts come and you start questioning your so-called bliss. It is bliss only when there is neither a state and obviously nor thoughts to question that state. Bliss, therefore, is the absence of all states. It is the absence of the very one who hops from state to state. When there is no one to hop from state to state, then the very mention of states becomes absurd. Sleep is that. And therefore sleep is the closest reference to Samadhi. Just that sleep is so very temporal. You know that you would be pulled down from the heavens. The alarm would ring. Even if the alarm does not ring, the bodily alarm would sooner than later shake and wake you up. Samadhi, on the other hand, is resistant to all alarms. Alarms keep ringing. The one who could hear and react to alarms is gone. Yell in front of a dead man. Does he wake up? That's Samadhi. Abuse a dead man. Does he react? That's Samadhi. It's just that Samadhi is neither sleep nor deadness. Samadhi is when the dead one reacts and yet does not. When you react and yet do not, it is called response. In sleep, you are conditioned to wake up. In death, you are conditioned to not to wake up. In Samadhi, you may wake up or not wake up, but actually you never wake up. That's freedom. In Samadhi, it's your playful decision to sometimes wake up and sometimes not. Either you are always awake inside, or it can be said that you are permanently sleeping inside. Both the descriptions are equally true. The Samadhist one, therefore, has been described in both the ways. Sometimes it is said that he is ever awake, and sometimes it is said that he is permanently asleep. What is certain is that he cannot be disturbed. He is beyond states, therefore his state cannot be changed. He cannot flip from being awake to being asleep, or from being asleep to being awake. A change of state is not possible, because the one who would hop from state to state is now satisfied. He was hopping from state to state because he was eager and hungry and thirsty. Now he is contented. So he is gone. He is gone. So the state doesn't change. But if the state doesn't change even on the outside, then you are called a dead man. On the outside, the state may change. It is possible that you abuse him and he slaps you back. His fine wish. The state may change. He is very unpredictable. Or you may keep abusing him and he may keep smiling. Can't say. What is certain is that internally he is busy with just himself. He is occupied unto himself. Like a child sucking his own thumb. He doesn't need anybody else. Chill. It's a bad analogy, I know. Sooner than later the child will realize that nothing is flowing from the thumb. But still, you know. You get the drift. The Samadhist one is busy within himself. And that's not daydreaming. Because all daydreaming is about obtaining something outside of oneself. The Samadhist one is just busy within himself. For him, outside of himself, nothing exists. Because he is just busy with himself. So there is nothing called an experience. Please. All experience is always of things outside of you. Have you ever experienced yourself, Nimisha? Try. You can experience your nail, your skin, the back of your hand. Your forearm, your shoulder, your hair. All right, let's go within. Vomit. What can you experience? All right, put a probe within. What do they call it? When you... Endoscopy. How far can you go? Can you ever experience yourself? Can you? You always experience stuff that is material, external. You never experience yourself because you cannot experience who you are. Experience always demands a separation. There is a beautiful little scripture by the name Drig Drishya Vivek. Lovely. It's one of the essentials for the beginners. Belongs to the same league as Atma Bodh and Tattva Bodh of Adi Shankaracharya. If I am not mistaken, it is by Vidyaranya, but don't take me on that. And it says the eye cannot look at itself. Black cannot see black. Heat cannot perceive heat. Heat can only perceive either something hotter than itself or something colder than itself. That which you are becomes incapable of perceiving itself. If you want to know your own temperature, you have to bring something outside of yourself to your body. Something that is not at the same temperature as your body initially. And then it comes to your body, and because it was at some other temperature, and then it comes to your body and changes its temperature, and you look at the change on that thing to know your own temperature. Do you see the process? Do you see the process? You cannot know whether you have fever by just touching yourself. Why? Because this hand would have the same temperature as this hand. Whatever you experience, Nimisha, is not you. Therefore, it cannot be blissful. Why can it not be blissful? Understand. If something is outside of you, it is always a scare. Precisely because it is outside of you. If it is outside of you, it will not know your pain. I get hurt. Does this get hurt? And that's why all foreignness, all alienness, all separation is so cruel. I get hurt. This does not get hurt. Wherever there is separation, something outside of you, no bliss is possible. Because bliss cannot be there in insensitivity, cruelty. Separation means I suffer and you do not. Separation means you can be a cause of my suffering. Separation means my interests and your interests are not one. Please, therefore I need to be cautious of you. Separation means my interest and your interest are not one. If our interests are exactly one, then you and I would be indifferentiable. Then we cannot be called as two. Separation means that sometimes it is surely going to happen that your welfare would be my downfall. Because our interests cannot be perfectly aligned. Separation means that sometimes it's surely going to happen that which you like, I'm going to dislike. So separation means cruelty. Separation means caution. Separation means suspicion. Therefore, separation cannot mean bliss. Therefore, there can be no experience of bliss because experience is possible only in separation. Do you see why I keep asserting that you can only experience pleasure? You cannot experience joy. Now, if you are adamant upon Christianing pleasure as bliss, then it's up to you. I would not advise that. But if you do that, let me warn you, you are only inviting fear to your life. Because now you have called something outside of you as the great and valuable joy. The thing is alien because it is existing in an atmosphere of separation. It is alien, but you have pulled it close to your chest and have also called it bliss. And if you have called it bliss, then it has been called very, very valuable. Bliss is valuable, is bliss not? So you have pulled something alien to your chest and you have called it valuable. Now you will live in fear. Why will you live in fear? Because the alien thing that you are holding on to can be snatched away. Don't do that, Nimisha. You are inviting fear. This bliss is ephemeral. This bliss won't last. And it does not. You know that. The bliss of sleep is a non-experience. But you know, we are so attached to experience. Why? Because it's not experience that matters to us, but the experiencer. By again and again harping on experience, we again and again show how attached we are to the experiencer. If you admit that bliss is a non-experience, then experiencer will become jobless. Because the job of experiencer is to keep experiencing. And if it is attested that the highest cannot be experienced, then what will the experiencer do? He is now jobless. The experiencer doesn't want to become jobless. He will have an identity crisis. He will lose respect in society. He wants to keep carrying that business card. I am Mr. Experiencer and I am very, very busy. For these days I am involved in experiencing the highest truth, bliss, joy, God. I am Mr. Experiencer and I am now in the middle of the hefty project called Bring Him Down, BHD. Bring him down and experience him. Doesn't it ring a little familiar, Nimisha? Experiencing. Is it very different from exploiting? Is experiencing something very different from exploiting something? And is the constant urge to have experience not an urge to exploit? How do you experience a man or a woman? Please tell me. You have known that, right? And I hope that you have gone beyond that. The urge to experience this and that. You see some food, you want to experience it. How do you experience it? By worshipping it? But by tearing it apart. And then biting it. And then chewing it. And then swallowing it. That's how you experience. Mind these words. Mind the fork, the knife. They are related to experience. The fork, the knife, the cutting, the nibbling, the chewing, the swallowing. All this is experience. And when someone is not amenable to experience and still you are hell-bent on experiencing, it is called rape. Why do you want to rape God? God says, I cannot be experienced. And all the enlightened ones here are hell-bent on experiencing God. God is saying and cannot be experienced. That's what all literature has been constantly telling you. He cannot be experienced. And you are saying, I will experience him. Look at yourself. You want to rape God. You want to enter where you are not allowed to enter. You are trespassing. You are violating. You will be punished. But such is our audacity. When a neighbor says, private area, do not trespass, we don't dare to. When the military says, area prohibited to civilians, we don't dare enter. But when the scriptures say, area prohibited to mind, we still keep thinking. We still keep demanding. And sometimes we claim that we have had experience. How do I explain? I don't know. Even after so much, I have this feeling somewhere in an inner pit that I'm not getting it across to you. Words are failing.